It's Tuesday, August 25th, and time for your Barbados Today morning news update. Minister of Education, Technological and Vocational Training, Cynthia Bradshaw, will begin meeting with teachers from today to get their input on the safe reopening of schools next month amid the COVID-19 pandemic. The first consultation, which will take place with secondary school teachers, is scheduled to begin around 9:30 a.m. at the Wilde Gymnasium. Also attending today's meeting is Minister of People Empowerment and Elder Affairs Cynthia Ford, Minister of Youth, Sports and Community Empowerment Dwight Sutherland, and Director of the COVID-19 Monitoring Unit Ronald Chapman. The minister is expected to meet with primary school teachers tomorrow at the same location. It is anticipated that over 1,000 teachers from primary and secondary schools will attend the consultations on both days. Officials say all COVID-19 protocols will be observed. The Ministry of Education must start evaluating teachers in the public education system if common entrance results are to change. That's according to veteran educator Jeff Brooms, who says the time has come to stop the talk about students at private schools outperforming their counterparts at public primary institutions in the annual exam. Brooms told Barbados Today that while he is bracing for a backlash for his comments, it is his belief that teachers at private schools are forced to perform and produce good results because their livelihoods depend on it.
One, I think the classes are smaller, so teaching can be more focused. Two, I think they get the necessary resources that they require in a more timely fashion. And three, which may prove to be most comforting and fair. I think their level of accountability for success is higher. They're held to higher standards of accountability than in public school, because obviously they can be fired a lot more easily than public school people can be fired if they're not performing. Teacher evaluations have to be very serious. We have to take them more seriously than we've been doing. Teacher evaluations, annual teacher evaluations have to be taken more seriously. We just give them lip service as far as I'm concerned. Because I've been saying for 14 years I was the principal. No matter how many reports I gave, the ministry has never engaged me to discuss with the teacher yet. We work hard. We work in conjunction with unions and all this. And we have a system for annual teacher evaluation that they do not think is utilized properly. And because there is nothing that comes out of it. Principals reg and principals reg. I do not think any substantive thing comes out of it.
Commuters traveling on ZRs and minibuses may soon have to pay with debit or credit card or purchase tickets to do so. That is one of the measures currently being seriously considered by officials in the sector as they seek to counter what appears to be an increase in robberies of privately owned PSVs and minibuses. Chairman of the Alliance Owners of Public Transport, Roy Raphael, spoke with Barbados Today on the issue.
The cash is creating some problems for us. It is a security issue on the road, particularly after 6 o'clock. Because we suspect with the unemployment situation is high due to COVID-19, it is really causing us to be an easy target, particularly those persons who are on lonesome roads. And that is why I'm saying that an urgent meeting is to be called with the Minister of Public Transport and the Attorney General to have a discussion going the way forward. Because I am saying clearly, if this does not happen sooner or later, it will force our PSVs to be off the road by a certain time. I don't know what measures. Actually, there are measures put in place with the transport board because they don't carry cash in hand, right? So if you rob the driver, you might likely get $10. But our units carry large number of cash, right, which are an easy target for us. And we are saying to people, minimize the cash, right? Make sure that you have fewer dollars in your pocket. But we're not seeing robberies around 12 or 1 o'clock. We're not seeing robberies around 8 and 9 o'clock in the night. But we're seeing robberies as much as 12 in the afternoon and 2 and 3 o'clock, right? So far, we have had about between 5 to 6 robberies of persons wearing masks.
Former chairman of the Transport Board, Anthony Wiltshire, said he spent some $80,000 from his credit card on various equipment and furniture for the state-run entity over a period of time. And pointing to a report he said was from David Bartholomew, the then Trinidad consultant on a special bus rehabilitation project, Wiltshire said his overseas purchases had resulted in massive savings to the cash-strapped Transport Board.
In Bartholomew's report, he mentioned about the said tools. Equipment/tools were purchased through the intervention of the chairman, a saving of approximately $103,000 for the full implementation of the PM program, that is planned maintenance. So who get the benefit? Not me, Transport Board.
So you're saying because of your intervention and making payments on behalf of the board, it saved
$3,000.
So how much money did you actually spend, Mr.
I can't
Wiltshire?
recall right now.
Ballpark figure? How much money out of your personal funds would you have actually?
No. It's personal from but the credit card. I think about $80,000, something like that.
There's regional and international news after this short break.
Barbados Today, news you can trust.
To news from the region, Bahamian Prime Minister Dr. Hubert Minnis announced the reopening of commercial activity with certain restrictions amid the ongoing COVID-19 pandemic. During a press conference, the Prime Minister said it was important to reopen the domestic economy as soon as possible while balancing the health crisis. More in this report from Eyewitness News.
New analysis has shifted the recommendation. I am happy to tell you that the health team sees positive trends developing regarding the situation in New Providence. At this time, a hard lockdown is no longer recommended for New Providence.
It's based on this that Prime Minister Dr. Hubert Minnis says government can now begin to reintroduce commerce here in the capital and throughout the Family Islands. As for the capital, the Prime Minister says business is expected to be restored by next Monday.
If the data is favorable and points in the direction, then the restrictions on those businesses can be relaxed and those businesses can be opened even sooner.
And finally, on the international scene, U.S. President Donald Trump officially became the Republican Party's presidential nominee. And he opened his speech on Monday by attacking Democrats for their push to expand access to mail-in ballots during the COVID-19 pandemic. More in this Reuters TV report.
This is the greatest scam in the history of politics.
After officially securing the nomination to be his party's choice to face Democrat Joe Biden in the November 3rd election,
The greatest president ever.
President Donald Trump adopted a grim tone in his first remarks on day one of the Republican National Convention, saying without evidence that he could face a rigged election, and repeated his claim that voting by mail could lead to an increase in fraud.
They'll be sending them, they'll be dumping them in neighborhoods, they'll be people are going to be picking them up, they'll be bribing, they'll be paying off people to grab some. We're going to win this election. The only way they can take this election away from us is if this is a rigged election. We're going to win this election.
Trump's remarks on Monday came in an unscheduled appearance on the first day of the scaled-back Republican convention in Charlotte, North Carolina, a far smaller event than originally planned. But it still marked a contrast with Democrats who opted for an almost entirely virtual format instead of gathering in the election battleground state of Wisconsin.
That's news. But for the very latest, visit us at www.barbadostoday.bb. You can also subscribe to our e-paper, email updates, or like us on Facebook, and sign up for our breaking news alerts via WhatsApp. We're also on Izumi Media in bus terminals, as well as screenplay at supermarkets and gas stations near you. And you can also hear us on Mix 96.9 FM and Capital Media HD 99.3 FM.